your flesh and blood.
Welcome to Tell Me Your Story, new paradigms for a new world where we're giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. We are here 9 times a week, Sundays at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday mornings at 1 a.m., Wednesdays at 9 a.m., and Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m., streaming live at all those times at richarddugan.com. We are on SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, as well as YouTube, where you can watch these conversations. I hope that you will take time to subscribe and click notifications so that when a new conversation is posted, you'll be notified and you'll be able to tune in, listen in, and learn, be entertained and inspired. A reminder that Choices, which is my book, 5 Steps for Life, it's available on Amazon.com in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle with Audible, soon to be released. We also ask that if you can support the work that we are doing financially, we do have a PayPal account. It is there for your security as well as ours. And when they ask for an email address to whom you're sending, please go to richard@richarddugan.com. That's the email address. If you go to richarddugan.com, there is also a link directly to PayPal so that you can send us whatever support you can. And we thank you to those who have helped and to those who will help. We also ask that you take time during this decade of perfect vision, the 2020s, to go within to that quiet, peaceful, calm, still place and listen to that still, small voice. And with that, we now take you to our very special interview and guest here on Tell Me Your Story. And welcome back to Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. I'm Reverend Dr. D. Richard Dugan, and my special guest is Mikael Avatar. We're going to talk about the Mikael Avatar Method and all the good things surrounding his life. And he's coming to us all the way from Thailand. Mikael, thank you so much for joining us here on the program.
Thank you, Richard, for letting me coming to you. This will be interesting.
I think so. Now, just to fill people in, this is take 2, as it were. And the reason I say that is because I'm going to ask the question I asked before, but I'm going to phrase it a little differently. But because I want you to answer the question basically the same way. And that has to do with the condition of not you, but of your body. And the original question, and I'm going to stick with it, is your body, the condition that it's dealing with, is it Parkinson's?
And that's a very good question. And my answer was, people here in Thailand, they can't tell me what cerebral palsy is. So they say, I have Parkinson's. It's much more easy to understand. So I was born dead for 45 minutes, and they find me breathing among their children who were dead. And then I thought, okay, I needed 45 minutes to think, should I really come to this planet? So that's the angle I use in my speeches, to get people to understand that everything has 2 angles, kind of that.
So this is something that you have had obviously all your life. My first wife, of course, dealt with the same condition, but again, there are different levels in terms of its impact on the physical body, correct?
Correct. Yes,
Yeah.
correct. It's very big difference. Some people can't eat by themselves. Some people, you can't even see that they have cerebral palsy.
It has not and does not diminish one's, the best way to put this, one's mental capacity. As a matter of fact, sometimes I have to wonder, maybe, Mikael, if one's mental capacity is always very strong. Sometimes I think that, for example, people who have Down syndrome or autism are or are on what is referred to as the spectrum are more intelligent and connected than the rest of us. And when I think of folks with Down syndrome or autism who are in the moment, they are the normal ones. And we who don't have this condition, and we get bombarded by thoughts of the past and thoughts of the future. The last place we're living is here in the now.
Yeah. And I used to tell people they are the most happiest people because they don't care about the future. They don't care what have happened. They are only here and now. That's freedom, kind of. You understand what I mean?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I've had a guest on my program. He has a book out and he calls himself, and it's the same as the title of the book, he calls himself the Nowist. And he has been,
Wow.
he's been working with people to try to get them to stay focused on the now because that's where the important stuff happens. You know,
But
yeah.
yeah, there is some, not all, of people with cerebral palsy. They don't have a program in the brain. So if I take a bottle and drink it uh, 1,000 times, the brain creates a program for drinking water. But I don't have that program. So it means that I'm drinking water for the first time. So I have to be very aware of what I'm doing. So some people with cerebral palsy, they don't have this awareness program. So they can do drinking water automatically. It's
Mm,
very interesting. Very interesting.
very much so. Your life has never been ordinary, to say the very least. It's raw,
No.
real transformation. And it's been full of impossible wins, deep lows, as well as profound breakthroughs. This is the story that we're going to talk about behind the Mikael Avatar Method as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. I'm Reverend Dr. D. Richard Dugan, along with Mikael Avatar, and he's coming to us all the way from Thailand. I'm very appreciative of the time that he's giving us, and yes, it may take for some of us some difficult. It may take some time to fully understand Michael as he speaks to us, but I felt it very important to have him on the program, to have this conversation because I wanted to find out about the Avatar Method, the Michael Avatar
Okay.
Method. So, so we're going to take on the challenge in that regard. And you basically you refused to accept that you couldn't learn to walk, but you did learn to walk, and you've been going through the process of experiencing life in all of its ramifications in spite of the fact that the body refuses to cooperate. And I'm wondering how the Avatar Method has helped you, maybe not specifically and directly in terms of what the Avatar Method is, but in terms of your creating it, if you will, or discovering it, depending upon your perspective, and having that kind of focal point in your life that propels you forward in the now.
That's a very interesting question because the Mikael Avatar method, it had been developed all my life. And I have talked to people. My passion is people. How do they work? How do they think? And most people struggle with a lot of things. And much of that is because they are not in present. When they meet their children, they are someplace else, but the children needs 5 seconds. And when they get 5 seconds, 100%, then they are happy and they go and play. But if you don't give them 5 seconds, they are annoyed and restless and all this effect. So I was thinking, how can I teach people to be aware? How can I teach people to take one step back and see the big picture? So that was my goal. And the first thing is to be aware. Most people live an automatic life. We go up in the morning, shower, breakfast, drive the car to work. It's an automatic. We don't even think, and then we are at work. But what happened between, we have no idea. So this was my mission. And then a year ago, kind of figure out, oh, so what should I call this? So I thought, I'm Mikael Avatar. That's my real name. I have it in my passport. And the Avatar Method. So I want to teach people, how do I live my life? How do I get aware? And then I have like a 4-step principle. And the last one, that's the most interesting, and that's action. So, because people think when I get retired, I will start painting. But that will never happen. When the children move out, when I change my work or whatever, you need to act. So I'm a person of acting. So I will give you a simple explanation. For example, if you put on the right shoe every day, what happens if you put on the left? That's a simple thing we do every day. It doesn't matter which one we take. What's interesting, what happens if we do it the opposite? Because you start everything you do, it's a chain reaction. If you change the pattern, you will have a different result. So, which patterns do you have that you do automatically? And what happens if you change them? So, this was like a short intro to the Mikael Avatar Method. How I developed it, that's my life. And it's really notes from thousands of my notes I put together. I used AI something and I put it together. I made an app for this and I have a method. So I think this is the best thing I have created so far in my life. And I think my best part of my life is always tomorrow, this year, next year, always. It doesn't matter where you come from. It matters what do you do with the stuff you have now and where do you want to go. And most people, they have no clue where you want to go.
Isn't that the truth? And it's interesting. I have a regular guest on my program. He wrote a book called Real Impact Daily Inspiration. It's a book of stories, poems, and quotes that he's collected over the last 50 years of his life. Name is
Yeah.
Dennis Henson, and One of the things that he talks about, and I kind of paraphrased it this way, is he tells a story of how he teaches his students in real estate. And what he did was he came in with a map on paper, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And he laid it out on the desk. He says, here's a map of the United States. And the first question he asked them was, where do you want to go? And they just looked at him dumbfounded, like, what do you mean, where do we want to go? I mean, we don't know. His point was that unless you know where you want to go, that map has absolutely no value. How do you teach people how to find where to go, or if we can rephrase it, their life's purpose, which I know changes over the course of the years, but nonetheless, the principle would be the same. If, let's say, you've achieved that life's purpose, so to speak, and the universe is telling you it's time to move on, you need to now run that same process. How do you teach people how to do that?
For me, it's very simple. When did you laugh last time? When were you happy? I mean, this. And if you don't have that, then you have to change your way in life. And what makes you happy? What this totally laughter that can go on, that is one of the key that you have to find. Most people, they have to go back 5 years, 10 years, even when they were 10 years old, to find that. And when you find that feeling or whatever it is in our body, then, okay, so when did you feel it the next time in your life? So you can have like points. It's like an adventure. I go with people on an adventure to find these key points. And that's like the first phase of the Avatar Method is like mapping out what do you have on your map. And when you know that, how did you feel with all this stuff? And where is the energy high? Because the energy is mostly high when you're happy, enjoy, laughing. So that's my way of finding people's purpose. And then you have to transfer it more concretely, how to walk the way. But that's it, other discussion.
Mikael Avatar is my guest here on the program. We're talking about the method, Mikael Avatar Method, and we're talking about it here on Tell Me Your Story. Reverend Dr. D with Mikael Avatar. And Mikael, we're familiar with AA. We're also familiar with AAA. But in the Avatar, the Mikael Avatar Method, you have quadruple A. And those A's stand for awareness, acceptance, alignment, and action. Now, awareness seems to be self-evident, but I'm going to have you share with our listeners and viewers your definition, if you will, of awareness under the banner of the Mikael Avatar Method.
Awareness is that I come to a point where I have to choose a road. And the awareness in that point is, if I go that way, this will probably happen. If I go that way, this will probably happen. And to go to this point, to be aware, you have to start with small things. That be aware that I put on my left foot or my right foot, because 99% of the people, they don't even know which shoe they put on first. And they don't know what happens if they do the opposite. So be aware is the key in many, many situations. I can tell you a short story. There was this guy, he was very, very sad, and he wake up, sit on his bed, oh, this is one more terrible day. And I told him, well, if you should, if you are lying to yourself, you should lie big. What do you mean? Well, you can wake up tomorrow morning and say everything, oh, what a fantastic day. It's the same truth, but it's a different perspective from life. But if you are aware that it's terrible, you will be terrible. If you are aware that it could be fantastic, you will be fantastic. And he called me back 2 weeks later, and he said, it worked. Only a mind shift of he was aware that he was sad. And then I could shift it. Be aware tomorrow morning that it's a fantastic day. That's my point, angle, which had on awareness.
It's along the lines of what I talk about in my book about choices and you know, feeling the way that we feel. Some people say, we are affected by, or someone made me feel. And it's like, no, we have chosen to feel the way we feel. I've often used this example of that, and you can put any event you want in front of you. You and another person are standing there watching this event, and you are shattered. You're in tears. You're just sobbing because of this particular event. And I'm just sitting there going, oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah, that's fascinating. I remember when I got the phone call at like 5 o'clock in the morning on September the 11th, 2001. They said, you need to turn on the TV and see what's going on. And I turned the TV on. And you know, the first thought that went through my mind, and I kid you not, was, wow, they've gotten really good with CGI. This is incredible. You know, wow, my goodness. And that was my observation. That was, for some reason,
Yeah.
what was going through my head. So it is always a choice. The next one that I like here, a lot of people, they talk about how we need to be more tolerant. We need to exhibit tolerance. And I say, no, I refuse to be tolerant, because the word tolerance, it implies judgment. In other words, Michael Avatar, I'm going to tolerate you and your cerebral palsy and the way that you speak. I'm just going to put up with it and so forth. No, I refuse to tolerate Michael Avatar. I accept Michael Avatar for who he is, for the message that he has to bring, because it's an important message. So I accept him for who he is, for the right he has to be here. And you chose to be here. And here you are.
Yes.
And we're chatting away.
And this is very interesting because I was born with cerebral palsy. People who understand I have cerebral palsy, but they didn't teach me. I don't know how to act as a person with cerebral palsy. I remember my wife in Sweden, I was cooking and I was cutting an onion. My wife came to me and said, stop, some things are not made for people with cerebral palsy like you. You shouldn't cut onion because I never think I have cerebral palsy.
Mhm.
When I go out and meet people, oh, or they remind me that I'm different, but I don't accept. I act as Mikael Avatar. That's it. I don't care what they think because I don't want to be an actor and act like as people with cerebral palsy. So it's very interesting perspective. And that's one of my thing that I tell people. You can go to any coach in the world, but I have a different perspective because I see the world from my eyes as a person. People think have difficulties, but when they know my whole story, they will say, wow, people don't move from Sweden to Thailand without money. And especially people with cerebral palsy, you understand what I mean?
Yep. Yep. Now, what's interesting, we'll continue on here with the other two A's in just a moment, but I was born into this world with a visual impairment. My body had a visual impairment, and it was a triple fold, if you will, trifold. I had nystagmus, stigmatism, and bilateral cataracts. Technically, according to the state of Arizona, I was legally blind. Okay.
Okay, wow.
But and I've had lots of surgeries. And in 1996, I had a lens implant in my right eye, and I'm now driving. I have been since then. I can't believe it's been 30 years. That's just unreal. It was like, wow, 30 years. That's nearly half my life. Um, and at one point, as I was in my late teens, early 20s, there was a brief period of time of victimhood where, well, the state was the one that labeled me this way. It's not my fault, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But as I began to understand more, I began to realize, and I think you word it differently, but I began to look at the blindness or legal blindness, however you want to phrase it, the low vision, if you will, not as a limitation, but as a perceived limitation, meaning it's only a limitation if I choose to let it be. And what person in their right mind would get involved in an industry like broadcasting, radio in particular, where there is a requirement for reading and so forth, and turning the dials and doing this and that and the other, taking meter readings on the transmitter and so forth with low vision. And then I learned, and I actually met a couple of totally blind radio disc jockeys. And they found ways to accomplish whatever it was they wanted to accomplish. So this whole aspect in regards to acceptance, it's not just acceptance in terms of, well, I accept Mikael Avatar and so forth for who and what he is, but it is also, is it not acceptance of self for who and what we are? And we are much more than the physical body, right?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Have you ever did you feel maybe in your early days frustrated like nobody's business that you couldn't get out the things that you wanted to because of the physical body and its shall we call them its limitations?
Maybe not like that, but I was very angry because they pushed me out. They told me I couldn't go to university. Even I have the grades for it, they throw me out. So I got a lot of anger, but I have worked on that because if you are angry, you can't, people will not listen to you. So you have to be aware, first step, of why am I angry? Who am I angry on? How could this person get me angry? Why do I let this person gets me angry, and so on. So I answer question from within to get my power back. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, uh, but physically, I my brain, I think my brain is so different compared to others because I just do stuff. I wanted to be a mountain climber when I was 4 years old. I told my mother said, "Oh, you can't make money on that." She was so wrong because 20 years later, I was a climber instructor and I teach people how to climb, rock climb. So everything is possible, but if I should have looked at my body and how I was walking, probably I would not have been a climbing instructor. Probably.
Yeah. It's amazing what we can accomplish when we do not focus on the limitations, but we focus on what it is that we want to do. We're talking with Mikael Avatar. I'm Reverend Dr. D. This is Tell Me Your Story. We're going to get into the other two A's, alignment and action, here in just a moment. But I find it interesting, your example of being a mountain climbing instructor. I interviewed many years ago, and one of these days it'll pop up on the radio and on the podcasts. Uh, I believe his name was Tom Weinmeier, totally blind, and he scaled Everest.
Wow.
All right. I believe he also walked the Appalachian Trail, which is the mountain range
Whoa.
north to south. It's sort of I don't know if it's the divider between the central part of America and the East Coast, but nonetheless, it's what he wanted to do. And the thought that occurred to me when you were talking earlier about people that telling you that you couldn't do things, my first response might have been, "Oh, so then Stephen Hawking also can't do what he's doing."
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Oh no, he's a great physicist. But look at his condition. Come on. And to me, it's just amazing, the accomplishments. And it's one of those things that I take a look at, not just with people with these conditions. Well, I'm gonna put it that way. I don't want to use the word disabilities, but these various bodily conditions. My first wife had cerebral palsy. It wasn't real severe, but she had a scissor gait. Wow. Hello. Um, learning to talk all over again here.
Yeah.
um, but it's just fascinating how when I think about, for example, people who are whether they're conscripted, or drafted, or they volunteer for a military life, and then they're put into combat situations. And I will tell you that one of the thoughts that goes through my mind when I hear about the casualties, especially loss of life, not just injuries, the lost potential. What could they have contributed to our society and civilization if they had lived? And then we sit here, we pass judgment on people who have physical challenges, and we tell them they can't. And I think my favorite response to that in many instances, and we read books about these people all the time, who are told you can't, and they say, well, no, I can and I will. And they do. And they contribute and they inspire others who don't have the physical challenges to just get off their duffs and do something with the life that they've been given. So you've faced that by others and you've overcome that. But do you still internally face that kind of mental challenge within yourself? Or have you reached a point in your life where that doesn't affect you anymore. It doesn't change. It doesn't affect what you're going to do. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, and you keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, 99 of 100. And sometimes they drop, maybe for half day, I deep, but mostly I'm focused. But some days everything crashes.
Mm.
And normally what I do then, I take a step back. Why does this happen right now? Does it mean I'm on the wrong way, or does it mean it's a bad day and the universe have their laugh or whatever happened? But normally I'm focused. I know where I want to go. I know what I want to do. People I want to see, meet, coach. I have a clear picture where I want to go on the map you put on the table. And when you know that, then the next alignment that's tricky for people. Does this thing align with my purpose? And mostly we have 10 fingers pointing 10 different directions. And that's very complicated life. You have to put what's my alignment for this purpose, like a checklist, like lifting an airplane. Pilots go through a checklist. And I ask people, they don't have a wife, they don't have a girlfriend. Okay, do you have a checklist? What do you mean? Have you written down what kind of person you want to learn to know? How should she be? Like the airplane? No. But if you go out in the world and you have no checklist, you can't check, see that person. You have to have a checklist. So I have a checklist. This podcast or other podcasts is full of my checklist. And that's why I have the energy, I have the focus, I have the willingness, because it's not easy. You need equipment, the crashes, there are different time zones to do podcasts, but I have my focus. I'm going that way. It doesn't matter. You understand, Richard, what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that mostly of my life, I know where I'm going. And I know I'm going there because it's fun, it's an adventure in life. I like to experience many different levels of my life because that's the purpose why I'm here.
Mm. I want to talk a little bit about the alignment followed by action. And obviously, action would be okay, I'm going to go climb this mountain. Or I have to tell you that the first time that my wife and I were driving to Santa Barbara, we were moving, and I was driving a rental van, and I think I had two of the dogs in the van, along with a lot of our worldly possessions. She was driving our Subaru with a trailer hitch, and she was pulling the the U-Haul trailer behind her. And she also had in a crate inside the car our four cats. And we made it all the way across the desert, and we were heading past Palm Springs. And all of a sudden, I'm looking around and I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm actually driving in LA. I'm driving in LA traffic. at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, or it might have been later. And it was only then that it dawned on me, oh my gosh, I'm actually where I never thought I would ever be. Because I just did this. Talk to us about how to become aligned so we can move into that action that we want to do. And by the way, this whole checklist thing, the more that you write down, the less you think about. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's down there on
No.
paper. And then more stuff will come. Put that down on paper, and you have all of these things that you want to accomplish. So tell us about alignment leading to this action.
Yeah, but that's very interesting because when you write down stuff, I used to 20 years ago when I started professionally coaching people, I let them write down 100 things they want to achieve, 100 things that made them happy, and 100 things, whatever it was. And it came to me like an exam, and I took the paper and I put it in an envelope, and I said, write your address. And then I put the envelope away. And then 1 year later, I posted the envelope to them. They have forgotten about it. And 99% of all the things was achieved in 1 year. Every time I did it, maybe 100 people at least got this letter only by writing down what you really want to achieve. That's amazing. And they didn't do the action part even because the subconsciousness created it by itself. So the alignment for me is about learning how to say no, because we get so much input from other people, internet, and you have to learn how to say no. This is not in my path where I'm going. And saying no, most people, they give an explanation, but just say no without the explanation. Because if you say yes, you don't explain why you say yes. Why should you explain why you say no? There is no point. So that's one way of putting the alignment to check your list. Is this in alignment with the person I am, the goals I have, the family I have around me that will affect about this? So it's all putting it together so it get a core to who I am, where I want to go. So it's aligned with every whole my body and everything around me.
Extraordinary. And we hope that people will find out more by going to michaelavatar.com and find out more about the work that he is doing. And we hope that you'll stay with us because we're here on Tell Me Your Story. I'm Reverend Dr. D. Richard Dugan, and I have to tell you that this whole aspect that we talk about on a regular basis of finding one's life's purpose is not really helpful unless one drops the false avatar and basically leads to clarity and power. And we, in this country in particular, it seems, I don't know about other parts of the world, you would know better than I, is that we seem to have acquiesced to our own personal power. Now, it has been said by some who know both my wife and I that we are a power couple. Now, I'm not 100% sure of what that means, but what I do know is the things that we have accomplished in the short time that we've been together. Now, some would say, well, but you've been together for like 28 years, you know. Well, okay, but I also believe too that we as individuals, our existence in this human body is like we're here for like a puff of smoke. That's the existence in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And we have accomplished an awful lot. Number one, obviously, the relationship that we came together to create back in March of 1998, but also making it through my wife's cancer diagnosis and treatment. Our trips, two of them, to Ireland in 2002 and 2004. Our moving in 2006 to Santa Barbara, where we stayed for almost 20 years. We came a little short of 20 years by about 6 months or so. And then our move to Twin Peaks, where we bought a house just recently. And then you talked about the power, in a manner of speaking, the power of saying no. And I had that experience literally just to this morning because I was approached via email by someone who claimed to be, and it may be, I don't know, I could be wrong, but my gut was telling me there's something not right here, claimed to be a literary agent and wanted to help me to get my book, Choices, 5 Steps for Life, published by a traditional publishing company. And I'm thinking, that'd be great because I have a general idea of what they do. And we started going through the process. I received on the 9th of March a letter of intent from one of the publishing companies. And they wanted me to sign and return it within 5 days, i.e. that Friday. But I had to have certain things in place. And something just didn't feel right. And I didn't like being pressured. And so as of this morning, I pulled out of the deal. Now, it was a 6-figure advance. Would have been fantastic to have. But for me, it wasn't about the money. I wanted to get a wider distribution, and I know that will come. But I put together and believe it or not, I was using AI to do this. I put together a short little letter of termination of our agreement. And the response that I got back was, I agree with your decision to terminate the agreement. That was it. I agree with your decision because I felt that I was being asked to make decisions faster than I wanted to. That tends to happen in this world, in this day and age, in the 21st century, where everybody says, well, everything moves so fast and you've got to make decisions quickly and so on and so forth. And my intuition was saying, no. Tell me about how your inner voice, your inner life and inner voice have guided you to where you are today, especially in that aspect of learning to take your own personal power and sometimes say no.
I drive motorbike. Probably I'm the only one in whole Thailand who drive motorbike because people with cerebral palsy are not allowed to have a driving license. So and when I drive, some days I feel I'm too near the car, I'm too near the tree, I'm too near. Then I pause and stop, sit for 5 minutes and breathe. Because then I know I'm going too fast in my life. I have to calm down, maybe even lower 5 kilometers an hour on the motorbike because I'm not in a hurry. Other days, I can drive 15 kilometers faster without a problem because I'm more aligned or in focus with where I'm going or where I am. And sometimes I go to the beach. I need like 5 minutes. Then I have returned to Mikael Avatar. When I came there, I was somewhere else in my thoughts. And when I'm in focus, then I can say no. If I'm in unfocus, unbalanced, like that driving 5 kilometers too quick the day I shouldn't drive 5 kilometers quick, then I make decisions more yes than no, even if I knew they should be no. So if I take a step back, am here and now, the yes is, and when I have that in my body, then I know it's the right decision. But I have practiced. There was a time, like 30 years ago, I couldn't say no to anything. Oh, yes, I was a yes person. That's very heavy to live. Now, when I'm more a no person, it's much more easier to live your life, much more.
Well, I'll tell you, I think it's fascinating that we can accomplish the things that we want to if we really want to. And of course, there's a wonderful old saying, and I think Henry Ford is the one who said it, that if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
And I think also there are those who encourage us to say yes to opportunities. Well, in a manner of speaking, I did say yes to that opportunity to get my book published by a traditional publisher. All right, great idea. But what I have learned, and just in this last year, because we have been nearly scammed 3 times, just this past summer when we were in the process of moving, that it's made me skittish. And I'm still getting emails from people. So I said, you know what? I'm going to communicate with those PR firms that I've been doing business with, as it were, for the last 10, 20 years or longer. And I'm going to meet with them and talk with them and say, hey, here's what I'd like to do. How can you help me? This is the 21st century. Everything is unconventional in the way that we do things. There's no more of this traditional ways of doing things. And that was one of the things that I kept hearing from the gentleman from the publishing companies. Well, according to standard traditional publishing procedures, this is the way we do it. And it's like, no. This is the 21st century. Since COVID,
Yeah.
we don't do things the traditional
No.
way anymore.
No.
And you found that to be true not because of COVID, but because of who you are, not what your body is, but who you are inside. And
Yeah.
that's important to remember that we need to get in touch with who we really are. Your website, michaelavatar.com, correct? Send people there to find out more about the work that you're doing and to get involved and maybe to have a consultation with you to find out how you can help them, how you can support them, to facilitate them in becoming the person that they really are, right?
Yes, that's my goal and my passion. I mean, when you finally see that the pullet go down, or they, wow, experience this, wow, that easy. But it's the magic point for me and for them. That's my passion. I've done these things 78, 78 all my life. It's so incredible to see when the magic starts working, when people just change small things, small direction, and the result is totally different. Totally. That's magic.
Well, we definitely encourage people to get in touch with you. Again, that website is michaelavatar.com. That's Michael with a K, not a CH. My brother spells it
Yes.
with a CH, okay? But Michael Avatar spells it with a K, and it's still pronounced the same. So we encourage you to go there and find out more. Michael, I want to thank you, number one, for, and this sounds kind of weird, coming all the way from Thailand to share this program with us, and also for meeting the challenges that you and I have just had with this program. I didn't share this at the front end, but I will hear that my laptop decided that it was just going to, there was an error somewhere, and it said, nope, I'm done. Give me 30 seconds to a minute and I'll reset everything and we'll get back on track. And that's why this particular version is take two. We only did 5 minutes, but
Yeah.
5 minutes I held on to it. And people see that at the front end of this conversation. And I think it's important that we realize that regardless of the adversities that come our way, we keep moving forward. We keep doing the things that we know. And when I say know, that we know because we've heard from within, from the divine, from that still small voice, keep going forward. You know what's funny? When my wife and I moved from Phoenix to Santa Barbara, there was no fear as far as that whole process during the 2 months, March and April and into May, that I felt no fear whatsoever, and I was very much into. I was aligned with the process of packing and then cleaning the place up and getting it ready to show, to sell it, and so forth. But then when we faced June, July, and August into September and into early October of this past year, of having to move from Santa Barbara to Twin Peaks, the one thing that I was told by others, but also by our friend who we consulted over the process, he says, don't even think about the place you're leaving or the people that are involved in the place that you're leaving. Focus on packing and moving into your new home that you're buying. That's what you need to focus on. And I did the same thing here in this past week to 10 days with this situation with traditional publishing. I went forward as far as I felt comfortable going until I got to a point where I said, no, I can't do this. There's something not right here. Now, if it was legitimate and I blew that deal, but the universe is watching out and it's never going to put us in harm's way. And if I had tried to follow through, I would have put us in harm's way financially. And so some new opportunity is headed our way, and it's going to be even better, even better. It's kind of like setting up these interviews and having the challenges that you and I faced at the front end of all of this. It just means that the interview is going to be that much better. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of what has turned out to be, in my opinion, a really extraordinary conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, because this was a really interesting, deep discussion, and how important it's even more important now with your story to understand the small achievement you have to do in the daily life that will make a big difference. And saying no leaving people behind, focus, way of moving. I left Sweden to come to Thailand. How much should I adopt here? Well, since I came here, I have uh, learned the culture, how to act differently. I thought I was a good coach before I came here. I was, but with the level and my growing here to reflect from Thai culture, from Western culture, I'm 10 times better coach now because I have to practice a new way of living, a new way to express myself here. Um, right now, I have a Thai girlfriend, and we don't have the same language. She don't speak English. I don't speak Thai. I speak good enough Thai, but not enough uh, to really speak like you and I. So we use internet to communicate, and I write in Swedish because if you want to express something, you have to use your native language, and that's Swedish for me. And she had to use her Thai language, and then we try to translate this, and it's really an adventure, and you really have to be aware of a lot of stuff. You have to leave. Oh, there's so many people I meet that what are they doing? Where they don't they know anything about why we are here? They don't even want to know why we are here. What's the purpose? And when I listen to your story, your questions, I'm even more sure I'm on the right path because this is the interviews that I want. I have a podcast agent that give me this type of interview because he understands me, and that's amazing. He contacted me like your book agency contacts you, but I said, oh, let's test. And every new interview is more interesting because he understands something else from my shiny experience to connect me with people like you. So I'm really, really happy that we did this interview. Thank you, Richard.
Oh, me too. Well, I do have three final questions that I want to ask you that I
Okay.
ask all of my guests. Okay. But before I
Wow.
do, but first, I want to thank you for listening to and watching Tell Me Your Story. New paradigms for a new world where we're giving you choices and knowledge of those choices to help make your dreams come true. We're here on Sundays at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday mornings at 1 a.m., Wednesdays at 9 a.m., and Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m., streaming live at all those times at richarddugan.com with podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, Blueberry, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and many other locations across the internet. We're also on YouTube where you can watch these conversations. We're also on Rumble. So please subscribe and click notification. We also hope that you'll go to Amazon, get a copy of my book, Choices, 5 Steps for Life, and it's available in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle. And we also hope that you will also leave us a tip. That's right, we have a tip jar. It's called PayPal. And if you go to PayPal and put in my email address, richard@richarddugan.com, we would be gratefully appreciative of any contribution you can support us with. We thank you, thank you, thank you for those who have helped and for those who will help. And finally, we ask that you take time during this decade of perfect vision, the 2020s, and we hope that you'll go within to that quiet, peaceful, calm, still place and listen to and follow the promptings of that still small voice. And with all of that being said, we go to our final three questions for our very special guest. And we ask of our special guest, the first of those three, who is Mikael Avatar?
Mikael Avatar is a system buster, a shining star, and making his way in life without hesitation.
What gets you up in the morning?
Freedom, choices, and my way how to be happy on this planet.
And finally, movie reference. You may recognize it. Mitch is riding with his two buddies on horseback, and he asks the question I ask of you. What was your best day?
Tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, what am I doing today? Your best year is the next year. That's my life. Thank you for those three questions.
You are very welcome. Once again, thank you for joining us here on the program. And I thank you folks for listening to and watching Tell Me Your Story. And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love to all. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I will see you on the other side. Mike, thanks for being in my life and letting me be in yours. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.